Good evening and welcome to the City of Laurel Planning Commission, the 556th meeting of the Planning Commission. Please note that if you wish to be heard at this meeting, please sign the speaker list provided on the table at the side of the council chamber. Ms. Quillen, if you would please call the roll.
Councilman Smalls.
Here.
Ms. Parker. Mr. Wilson. Mr. Welford.
Here.
Vice Chairman Kish.
Here.
Chairwoman Bettman.
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, approval of the minutes from the March 13, 2018 meeting. We have each received those. Are there any questions for staff? I will entertain a motion.
I motion that we approve the minutes for the last meeting.
Second.
13.
Thank you. Ms. Quillen, if you would please call the roll.
Mr. Kish.
Yes.
Mr. Welford.
Yes.
Chairwoman Bettman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Agenda item 3, special exception application number 883, Bank of America, ATM 14601, Baltimore Avenue, filed by Matthew Tedesco, Esquire, care of Nelco Architecture Corp, for recommendation to the Board of Appeals. Mr. Love.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. The applicant, Bank of America, is proposing to construct and operate a drive-through automated teller machine to be located at 1460 Baltimore Avenue. This property is zoned commercial general. The current use of the space is a parking lot, and as you'll see in the example up here, that it's going to be, the parking space is running along Oak Street. The property is located in a strip shopping center known as Boulevard Shops. The property was annexed into the City of Laurel in 1987. Currently, there are 14 other businesses on the property. Surrounding the property to the north is an ExxonMobil gas station. To the west is a TGI Fridays restaurant. To the east is a business park not located within the city limits. And to the south is a Bank of America bank and public storage facility not located within the city limits. The Bank of America bank located to the south will no longer operate once the ATM is constructed. The drive-through ATM requires one parking space to be provided on site per code section 20-16.5. The shopping center is required to provide a total of 209 parking spaces per code section 20-16.5. The shopping center is required to have one parking space for every 200 square feet of gross leasable area. The shopping center contains 41,656 square feet of gross leasable area. Currently, there is a total of 225 parking spaces on the property. The applicant is proposing to remove 14 parking spaces, bringing the total parking spaces on the property to 211, which will cover the required parking. The applicant is proposing to remove 2 existing trees for security purposes. The applicant is proposing to replace the removed trees with 2 new black oak trees to be placed near the entrance aisle of the ATM. It is recommended that the Planning Commission recommend approval of special exception application number 883 to the City of Laurel Board of Appeals with the following conditions. 1. The applicant shall obtain a City of Laurel sign permit. 2. The applicant shall replace the 2 trees being removed for the project. 3. The applicant shall obtain a City of Laurel building permit. 4. The applicant shall obtain a City of Laurel electrical permit. 5. The applicant shall install a new stop sign at the landscape area near the new freestanding electrical data service rack. And 6. The applicant shall comply with all federal, state, and local laws and regulations for the protection of the use of the property. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there questions for staff?
I do.
Councilman Smalls?
If none of the commissioners.
And,
Would you go over for us, and maybe just me, is this a drive-through or a walk-up ATM?
This is a drive-through.
Drive-through only?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that takes care of any follow-on questions I have. Well, you took too long before you went to the next person. Parking around that structure. What I'm getting at is I really have an issue with the walk-up ATM at Navy Federal Credit Union because vehicles block traffic. It's a real pain, and obviously my questions are directed at making sure that that kind of issue never occurs again in the city. So I'm just again curious. It's a drive-through. I got that, but just talk to me again about the parking that's immediately around that ATM.
So with the parking situation, like I said, it's going to be most of the line along the Oak Street. We're actually having them remove one of the parking spots coming this way along Route 1, just so in case there's any sort of slight backup of cars, it won't affect anybody parked in there. There will be one spot that is located kind of at the end of the ATM where they leave, but that shouldn't really be affected by anybody coming in and coming out. Right now, they're not going to be taking up any extra drive aisle space. In fact, they're going to be completely within the parking area and have an extra foot that's located in there. So that shouldn't be any problem for anybody who would normally be backing up either along Route 1 or along the other side of the building.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Having signed up, I have a Mr. Matthew Tedesco. If you would state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure, Madam Chair. Thank you. For the record, my name is Matthew Tedesco, attorney with the law firm of McNamee Hosey in Greenbelt, Maryland, 6411 Ivy Lane, Suite 200 in Greenbelt, Maryland, 20770. Again, for the record, my name is Matthew Tedesco. With me this evening is Mr. Mike Lenhart with Lenhart Traffic Consulting Group. He was a traffic engineer that we hired in response to some pre-meetings that we have with your staff. I think to the council members' questions, having him retained and do his analysis was beneficial. I know for us as a team in designing this application as well as the staff in reviewing it. I would like to thank Mr. Love and his staff. We did have 2 or 3 meetings in preparation of just filing the application, which were immensely helpful for us as far as preparing it and actually revising the site plan to be somewhat responsive to some initial questions, comments, and concerns that staff had. And I think what you have before you and based upon the staff recommendation is what we believe to be a very clean application. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'll submit on our justification statement as well as Mr. Lenhart's analysis. I do want to make note of a couple of things, though, in response to one of the questions. We did try to purposely locate this proposed ATM in a location on the property that would be the least impactful, not only from a transportation access, but also queuing and turning radius. It is along the frontage of Oak Street, which does dead end at the terminus of that point. We do not see a lot of vehicular traffic coming in off of Oak. Most of it, the vast majority of it, will come in off of Baltimore Avenue, and that will provide a direct shot into the queuing lane for the ATM. Mr. Lenhart's analysis did look at the ATM vestibule, which, although it used to be a bank, it currently only operates as an ATM. It's not a bank. And although there's 3 drive-through lanes on that bank, only 1 is operational. So it was a good test for what we would anticipate for this particular use moving across the street. And I think the analysis demonstrated that we will have sufficient queuing lanes for this. But it also helped in redesigning the site. We did expand the width of the receiving lane in response to that analysis, so that although we don't expect it, if cars do come in from Oak and turn into the site and then have to make a hard left into the ATM lane, there's sufficient width for them to make that turn and not have to do a 3-point turn in the middle of the drive aisle. And that was one of staff's biggest concerns initially. Another concern which we feel like we've addressed is we do have to unfortunately remove 2 existing trees. A couple of reasons for that. One being that the state law, actually the financial article of the state code, requires a 50-foot unobstructed lighted area around all ATMs. So those trees block that, so we had to remove them. And also for crime prevention through environmental design encourages not having a bunch of landscaping around an ATM for obvious reasons. What we did agree to replant 2 trees in somewhat general location near the drive aisle to further screen the drive aisle from Route 1. So we think the application before you is responsive. I'll proffer the basis for each of the requirements for special exception in our justification statement and happy to answer any questions and respectfully request the board's recommendation of approval to the Board of Appeals, the Commission's recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions for the applicant?
You said there would be the security lighting on there. Will there be a camera on it?
Yes.
From the, will that be on the shopping center looking at the
I'm not
ATM?
sure what the security cameras are on the shopping center itself, but the ATM vestibule is equipped with security cameras. Absolutely.
Just the one that's in the machine itself that takes a picture of the user, or will there be one showing the whole general area of the machine?
Yeah, I'm 100% certain the one in the ATM. I'm not certain on whether there's going to be one on the actual exterior of the machine videotaping vehicles or not. I don't know. But I can certainly find that out within 24 hours and let your staff know if that's important.
Just seems to me like it'd be a good idea with everything. And do you know what's going to go into the old bank building?
We don't know. That's under a lease currently. Bank of America has it under a lease, and that lease is terminating.
My question is, the servicing of the machine and the changing of the money, when the armored truck comes, is that only during daylight hours and daytime? And do you know how often that is?
I don't. If I could supplement to your staff, I'll definitely find that out. I would assume it's only daylight hours, but I don't know the exact times or the frequency. But we can certainly find that out based upon the existing.
The only reason I ask is in the evenings in this parking lot, it is packed in the front end, not where you're building. So sometimes, you would have to have gone around the side where the parking is. But I've noticed in a new ATM drive-through or wherever I've seen an ATM drive-through that when the armored truck comes up, it does not come through the drive-through lane. In fact, it's outside of that. I don't know whether it's because it's too big. I'm not quite sure, and maybe that's not the case. So that then would take up the travel lane. So I was thinking I would hope that that's done during the day because there's very little traffic there during the day.
And I'll make a note of that. We can certainly have that clarified before the Board of Appeals hearing.
Thank you. That would be fine.
But I will say we did previously have 3 parking spaces left. We removed one of those for 2.
Yeah.
They're somewhat off of what I would consider the close proximity to the roof. So I would anticipate that those will fairly be available for the truck to pull in there, which is immediately adjacent to the drive-through lane. But I will endeavor to obtain that information and let your staff know and proffer.
That's fine. Thank you very much. That was the only question that I had.
Madam Chair, if you would indulge me just one more time, I just want to dovetail on Commissioner Welford's question and comment about security camera. If the only camera in this almost secluded area is just the one that's on the actual person transacting business and not sort of giving some view of a good portion of the actual ATM. When you talk about security, that seems to me to be a security measure that you should consider. I'd ask that the commission consider possibly making that a condition to look at least to see the feasibility of having some kind of a site camera that would provide a bit more security from that perspective. It is a bit secluded.
Just to be clear, I don't know what the existing commercial shopping center and the property owners and the landlord has for the overall center itself. In my experience, most shopping centers of this stature have security cameras that are accessible for the entire parking lot. I will endeavor to confirm that and let staff know.
Obviously,
I don't want to assume.
Yeah.
But I'm confident in saying that I would be surprised if there's not an overall security camera system for the overall center.
And so would I, but I think it's rather to rather confirm that.
Sure. And
right.
We can get an exhibit or something that shows the locations of the cameras.
Right.
Okay.
And we could, if in the motion, we could put that we would like that answered to the Board of Appeals if we believe, if you feel that way. Okay? Are there any
Thank
other
you.
questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are no, thank you. If there are no questions, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the special exception application number 883, Bank of America ATM, 14601 Baltimore Avenue, filed by Matthew Tedesco, Esquire, and Nelco Architect Corporation for recommendation to the Board of Appeals with the 6 recommended exceptions, or conditions, I mean, and to add one more condition, number 7, would be to include the use of security cameras on the property that would be in addition to the one that's in the machine itself, but one that's on the shopping center that views the whole general area of the machine itself. That's my motion.
And I will second.
Ms. Stelling, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Mr. Kish?
Yes.
Chairwoman Bettman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. No additional business before us. This meeting is adjourned.